be closer. This is gonna be a bump. Oh, we could.
We're live. Good morning. This is Tea Time with Tony. And obviously, this is not Tony. I'm Diane David, and I have been asked to guest host today so that I can interview Tony and Jeffrey Holland. So welcome to your show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But I do have a precedent to fill now. I need to start with some information.
Yes, ma'am.
Today is National Nut Day, which somehow seemed appropriate. Okay. And
You did
obviously,
not front load
because
that.
I did. And because obviously we go through a lot of ups and downs. Today was the first day that someone jumped out of a vehicle and used a parachute. In 1797, the first parachute jump happened, coming out of a hot air balloon. And they jumped out and demonstrated the use of a parachute in 1797. In 1941, Dumbo premiered.
Oh,
And in 1962, we were in the middle of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
wow.
Yeah. So today we are celebrating the birthdays of Franz Liszt,
Lovely.
Daniel Boone, contemporary actors Jeff Goldblum and Christopher Lloyd, and appropriately enough, Johnny Carson, who spent a lifetime interviewing people, and it just seemed the perfect lead-in
so cool.
for
That's super
an
cool.
interview.
And
So,
being a nut.
In the studio today,
And being a nut.
and being a nut. Yes, because it's National Nut Day. So in addition to me and engineer Mike, we have Tony and Jeffrey here. And this is just an opportunity to get to know the two of them individually and as a couple. And so I wanted to start out, I have known you for a long time. And have actually known you long enough to see the relationship grow and come together and become what it is, and was an instrumental part in what it became together, because I performed your wedding ceremony.
Yes, yes.
So this is one of my favorite couples on the face of the earth. And so I'm delighted to be a part of this today.
Thank you.
I do know enough about both of you to, I believe, that neither of you started in Riverside.
Oh,
No.
Okay, so how did you, Jeffrey, come to Riverside?
let me see. With my wife at the time,
Yes,
Barbara, we moved from Orange County to Moreno Valley.
and was Orange County where you were from originally?
Pretty much. First we lived in Long Beach, and then we moved to Huntington Beach. So it's
Okay.
like, pretty close.
Uh-huh.
My dad worked for the Long Beach Police Department, and so it was all kind of in that area.
Mhm.
And then Barbara and I lived in the high desert for a while, and then we came back to Orange County, and then after we stayed there for a little while, and then she got a job in Paris,
Oh, okay.
teaching in Paris. She was a teacher, and we moved to Moreno Valley, and the rest is history. That was like 35 years ago.
Right,
35 years ago.
right.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And your path has been even further away,
Yes, Chicago.
Chicago.
Chicago. I moved out here in 1996
Okay,
to go to Cal Baptist College at the time,
right.
and became a university. While I was there, I
And
grew up
what part of Chicago?
West Side. So I'm a
Okay.
Cubby. So I'm
Okay.
a Cubby, still a Cubby. And
Yes,
yeah,
there's a big
yeah,
difference. I lived
yeah.
in Chicago for 4 years, so I know the rivalry between the
you
Sox and the
can't-
Cubs.
to like them both is heresy.
Right, if,
You gotta
if
be a
you live in
chubby,
Chicago,
or you
yes.
always gotta be a
Yeah.
Sox fan. You gotta be one of the two. So yeah, I moved out here to get rid of my safety net. Because I was making a mess of my life out there. So let me get out of here. I was trying to get into NYU.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
I was trying to get into NYU because it was New York.
right,
It's
right.
New
What
York.
was your major?
I double majored in communications and English. I was going to be a teacher.
Okay,
So yeah, and then when I graduated, I got approached to be a community pastor at a local church.
all right.
So, and I took that gig for a few years. So there you go.
So in your studies at Cal Baptist, was part of it religious studies and
No.
leading to ordination?
No.
No.
Nope. I got approached to be the community pastor, and I went through this ordination process. And the day that all of us went in to meet with all of these pastors from the Southern Baptist Convention, let me
Okay.
clear that, because I thought, oh, Cal Baptist, it's a Baptist college. I grew up Baptist,
Uh-huh.
but not really reading the fine print, realizing that my Baptist was a different Baptist. But I went in and all of us were together, and I remember going into the bathroom and I'm throwing up,
Oh,
because I'm like, I'm about to go meet these Southern Baptist pastors who are going to grill me.
whoa.
I literally was throwing up for real.
Wow.
And but I made it through. I made it through, and I did it for 2.5 years, I think.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. And then I decided to leave, because I obviously, for those of you who are watching, I'm gay, but I suppressed that.
Great. What?
Yes. If
You're gay?
if my husband wasn't an indicator, then I'm flouncing. But anyway, but yeah, I decided to leave because of a situation where somebody came into my office and gave me and said to me that they were not struggling, they were of a different sexuality. And I gave them the church ads. And they went on to marry an abusive partner.
Mm,
And that affected me
yes.
because I felt like what I should have said was that you're valid in your,
Mhm.
you're not even concerned. Who you are matters.
Mhm.
I didn't do that, even though I knew that I myself was
Mhm.
gay. And that individual spent a few years in an abusive relationship.
Oh.
And I took that personally.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, I did that. And I said, I can't do that again. So I created an excuse to leave
Okay.
the ministry, which I love. I love being
Right.
community. I love being community pastor. I thought I was very good at it. One of the few things that I thought I was good at. But I just said, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
And I'm not going
I
to do it again.
understand that.
So, but yeah, and that freaked me up.
So where in each of your journeys was the coming out process?
Ooh,
To yourself
interesting.
or to the public?
When I was a child, I knew I was different. Even real young, I kind of knew that I liked girls, but kind of not in that way.
Mhm.
And I didn't necessarily want a girlfriend, I just want a friend,
Right.
And then it was kind of like, I started kind of developing more closeness cool with my male friends, my friends were boys. So I had it all planned out. And in fourth grade, when I was like 9 years old, I decided that I was going to wait until all of my relatives died. So my parents were both gone. My grandparents were gone. When everyone was gone, and when no one who would judge me and freak out, I thought I'd have a sex change and I'd be just like Wendy Carlos.
Wow,
And,
yes.
that would be the only way I would be able to have a relationship with a man.
Interesting.
Well, that was prepubescent Jeffrey.
Yes,
And so
yes.
after that puberty thing, things changed. And it was like, well, I don't want to be a woman having sex with a man. I kind of want to be a man having sex with a man. So that was a big shift. In high school, I came out my sophomore year, which was like November of 1979. And lost a lot of friends over it. And, but also found some wonderful supporters who I hadn't counted among my friends.
Wonderful.
So the trade-off was worth it.
Uh-huh.
And all my teachers, all my classmates knew I was gay and the whole thing. And my mom only told me many years later that my school counselor had called both my parents in to say, Jeffrey's going around saying that he's gay, and I don't know if you know this, blah, 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 blah. Well, they never said a thing to me about it.
Wow.
Never said a thing about it. So this was in high school. And then in 1985, I met Barbara, and we started a relationship together that ended in marriage. It was kind of, she was like my best friend. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do this thing where I'm going to marry a woman and we're going to have a relationship, that I'm going to do it the way people expect you to do it. We lived together for many years before we got married. We were together for 13 years in total, and the last 5 of those we were married. And if she had not passed away, I think we might still be married today.
Wow.
But so that was kind of,
yeah,
that's been my thing. So then after Barb died, I met Jeffrey, and I thought, well, I've been married. And
they're done it.
My priest at the time said, Jeffrey, you don't need to be conflicted about this, because your vow was to love, honor, and cherish until death parts you. And that has happened. Move on without guilt. Do it. And I was like, whoa, okay, do it.
Wow.
Well, then I think gay, kind of thing. So that was my
wow, what a journey.
roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, Mr.
I-
Harris?
Same thing. It sounds so cliche, but I always knew, but I didn't know what it was. You don't
Right.
know, and it's such a.
Well,
I
and
just-
yeah, as a kid, that's not something that's a part of your life yet,
Right.
is a sexual expression.
I knew that I liked men, but I still loved women too.
Mhm.
I love women. I think women are fabulous. I really do. But I knew that there's just something different about boys for me.
Mhm.
And I told you that it's so bad. I have no idea what's going to happen for the remainder of the show. But I did get, as a young child, I was molested. And I tend to not tell that story because people think that, well, that made you gay.
Ah,
I'm like, and I want to tell people that rape is not attractive. It should have the opposite
Right.
effect. It would make you not want to have anything to do with that. And I was a young man and a young boy, and was molested for several years, and but I knew that even though that was vile,
mhm.
I knew who I was. I just didn't know how to express it.
Mhm.
And I didn't come out actually until I was 30. A friend of mine died, and he had lived his life so segmented, like those communities
Mhm.
never met.
Mhm.
You know, and I was doing the same thing. And I did not want my mother to find out at my funeral
Yes.
that I was gay. I did not want to do that to her. And so when he died, and anybody who's watching know exactly who that is. I got on a plane to Chicago to have a conversation with my mother.
Wow.
And I made arrangements with my gay family, which she did not know I had.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm sequestering my life.
Right.
So I made arrangements in case it went bad, and I would have someplace to go in
Okay.
case my mother lost her mind or just couldn't handle it.
Uh-huh.
And I sat down and I spoke with her. And my mother said to me very pointedly, I always knew, I just didn't want to hear it.
Oh.
That's exactly what she said to me.
Wow.
Your dad knew too.
My dad told my mother and didn't tell me that he told her.
Oh.
So I was like, well, damn, we could have been having this conversation. We could have been working this out. You know, but she said that to me, and she was so loving in the moment.
Mhm.
She did what she could do. It wasn't her favorite thing. I know it's not her favorite thing. But she's really grown. And it's pretty fabulous. I love my mother quite tremendously.
Yeah.
So I told her, but I didn't tell her at the time that I was dating. I was dating. I was dating at the time, because I little. It feels weird being interviewed because now I feel it feels because I'm like,
Yes.
I don't know what to put out there. I don't want to put anybody on blast. But I was dating at the time someone who I cared deeply about. And
You
I guess
did
I can
say,
say
by the way, that everything was safe. And okay,
yeah.
now I did check with you before I.
Yes, you did.
Uh-huh.
Yes, you did.
All right.
Okay, so I was dating a guy named Greg, and lovely man, and we're still friends.
Mhm.
And
First.
yes,
Mhm.
First.
none of you knows what that means, but absolutely Burkers. And I cared about him so much. I need to let my mother know that I was seeing somebody, you know, and I didn't tell her when I came out. And then I called her maybe a month or so later and said, so I have something to tell you, because I'm giving my mother. She's like, okay, wait. Now I know my son's gay. I did not, because my mother's idea of gay was Jack from Will and Grace.
Right.
So, because that was the narrative at the time.
Right.
You know,
Well,
you didn't
it's
know
what the media gave
or
us.
a
Yes.
drag queen.
And that's what the media allowed us
Correct.
to believe. The media wasn't ready to put normal, everyday, average couples out there.
Right, because back in 1969, when I was born, and you got older, if you were gay, then for a lot of people, that meant you wouldn't be a woman.
Right.
And
Right.
that wasn't the case. As you just
Yeah,
said, that just
right.
wasn't the case. It's like, I like being a man,
Mhm.
you know, but that wasn't the narrative. So my mother had to work through all of that because that's what was being portrayed.
Mhm.
You were sissified or
Right.
all the things. And I told her, so I gotta tell you something, and I can hear on her voice on the phone. I just heard this.
Okay, now.
That's exactly what happened.
Uh-huh.
And I said, so I'm seeing someone. Is he white?
Oh.
This is my mother. My mother grew up in Mississippi.
Yes, of
You know,
course.
And I said, yes. And not only is he white, he's German. It's-
Fabulous.
so, and what people don't realize is that I did not want to date a white man. What am I doing?
You're shaking the table.
I'm shaking the table. Okay. Well, I did not want to date a white man. I thought it would be easier to date a black man. I thought it would be easier to navigate the
Mm,
gay community if I had another black man with me. Because my mother said to me, she said, I'm worried about you because now you're a minority again. You're not only a black man, you
Mhm.
are a gay black man.
mhm.
So you have a lot to work through, you know.
Right.
And my mother said that to me, and that's valid. You know,
Yes.
it's absolutely valid. But she hunkered up and she hung in there with me. But she got weird for a few minutes. She was like, "Are those gay boots?"
Oh,
It's like everything, like no matter what I wore, it's like, is that a gay thing? It's like, Mom, these are just clothes.
Right.
You know, so type thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
but she loves Jeff.
right.
She
And
loves
what's not
Feeling
to-
is mutual.
Yes.
She loves Jeff. Because he made the mistake of saying something that she wore was splendid. And that made her just go, oh,
Mm.
you know, type thing. And when I told her, I didn't tell her I married Jeff.
Oh,
I told her that I married Jeff after we got married,
okay.
which you did.
Yes.
I
And
thought you never were getting
I didn't tell her. Nope.
it. Oh, I kind of.
And then when I told her, and she said, Hammy, put him on the phone. And my mother is a direct, straight shooter, no holds barred.
Uh-huh. Gosh,
And
I
I got-
wonder how that got
I
passed
don't
on.
know. But I got nervous. When I handed him, I was like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I handed him the phone. And she was like, so I understand y'all married. This is my mother.
Yeah.
And she was lovely to him.
Oh, good.
She was lovely to him. So, but that's my journey in a nutshell.
So you both ended up in Riverside, the same place.
Yes.
Same time.
Yes.
How did you meet?
The man
At the
tragedy.
Yeah. At the menagerie.
We affectionately call it the man tragedy.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the correct name, ladies and gentlemen, is the
The
menagerie.
menagerie.
Yeah, that's where we met. And he was with Jeffrey Owens.
Okay.
And if I'm getting this right,
And were you with Greg at the time?
Not necessarily.
because you and I, you met Mark, you got together with Mark about the same time I got together with Greg.
Right.
So we were in other relationships.
Well, I know that Mark knew you and Jeffrey together
Yes,
because he would always talk about going to Jeff and Jeffrey's
yes.
for the Cinco de Mayo party,
Right.
things like that. So I knew of you
Uh-huh.
through Mark,
Yes.
but I also know that Mark lived with me for a
Yes.
while.
Yes.
And when it was coming up on 2 years in one of the stretches, I said, do you have an end date for this? Is this going to be permanent? Or,
Uh-huh.
let's start looking and planning for how this living arrangement ends. And he left me for you
Sierra.
because, because Jeffrey had died in May,
June. of
June,
02.
yeah. right.
And
And
in October of 02, Mark moved in.
right,
to
moved
that
in
place.
with you. And yeah, that's basically when I kicked him out of my house. Was that, okay, start making an end plan and you've got 6 months to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not kicking you out now, but let's start seeing how this wraps up. So I knew that this kind of dovetailed with Jeffrey's death
Mhm.
and Mark moving in with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a weird thing because the four of us are friends. Me, Mark.
Right, and
me,
that's really how I knew you and Greg,
Yes.
was
I
that
don't
you guys would
remember when we met, you and I. I do
Sure.
not remember when we met.
church.
And you and I met when at Eddie and Vincent's, when we came over for dinner, and you and Brian also.
Oh, okay,
So I met,
okay,
I had heard of you, and I knew I was gonna be meeting, Mark's friend Diane.
Right.
And that he had lived with you and all that stuff.
yeah,
but I had never met. And so I met all four of you, Patty, I met you all.
oh, wow.
All on the same night.
Wow. And I remember you being in the pews at church. And I don't know if Greg was with you.
Mm-mm.
No, he was.
Because he was a Christian Scientist.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
church wasn't his thing,
Right.
and that type of church.
But
My type of church.
that's my earliest memory of you. We may have met casually in other
Probably,
places, but
Probably.
yeah.
But I think that because we've been friends for a very long
got
time.
together in November.
We got together in November. And y'all got together that same year. You and Mark got together that same year. And we did everything together. The four. of
Right,
us.
the four of you. And you
did.
would have Monday evening potlucks.
Oh my gosh, we did
And
everything.
watched
together.
American
American
Idol.
Idol.
American
Uncle
Idol.
Betty.
You had your
We had our
routine
thing.
and shows that you would watch together
Mhm.
because you guys didn't have a television.
That's weird, but yes, you're right.
Yes, and
Yes,
so you would, it's
that
not,
sounds really
it's
weird.
not that
Producer
you,
Mike, ladies and gentlemen, is laughing. You can't see him, but he is
so
laughing.
it's not
He-
that
he
you didn't
does have
watch
humor.
television. It's just
Correct.
that you went to someone else's house
Yeah.
to watch I always thought that was interesting, but I did know that you had these Monday evening gatherings and would watch television together. So I knew of you as truly as a foursome, and then we did things at Redlands Footlighters.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's where Birth Curse came up. It's
Right.
from a play, Funny Money.
Funny money.
And
Funny money.
there's briefcases that get switched. And the character that Greg played comes in the last 10 minutes of the play and had a Dutch accent or something. and
Yes.
Would call it a
yes,
birth curse.
yes.
And the briefcases would get switched. So
I-
Greg would spend most of the show up in the booth with me.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the show would go down and make his entrance and say birth curse.
Funny thing about that, I surprised him doing that show. I invited his family out without telling.
Oh,
And he didn't even, he was just doing the thing in the show. And they were, his mother and his sister, and I think a couple of his nieces were there, were in the audience. And at the curtain call, he turns around and sees them, and he goes, because he didn't know they were there.
well,
You know.
and this is at Footlighters?
At Footlighters, yeah.
So if you don't know that this theater in Redlands, it's kind of like watching a show in a football field. You have stadium seating,
Yes.
and you're looking down at this rectangular stage. So you've got audience on either side and very close.
And not in the
I mean,
round, though. just
No,
in
no,
the
not
round.
in the round, but the two sides in kind of stadium seating. At one end, they do have a marvelous little turntable, so you can do some set changes, but yeah.
Oh, we should let people know that if you have any questions for us, send them to producer Mike and Miss Diane will.
We'll
address them
try.
for you. We'll try. We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a
So-
shot. Yes.
I know that one of the things that you have always done on your show was the James Lipton 10 questions
Here we
from
go. Life is about to get seriously
Multiple
difficult
to
right now.
and it I have actually found 6 other questions that I found quite intriguing, and I'm stealing these from Ina Garten, and the cooking chef, and who asked these of Nathan Lane, who was on her show.
Okay.
But I just loved the questions.
I know.
Ina, see, there you
Yeah,
go.
yes.
Uh-huh.
I am super nervous right now.
Oh, no. I ask them because I found them interesting. And I tried them out on Chad, and Chad would go, oh, these are good questions.
Oh, see,
Okay.
Chad just wants to make me nervous.
And
You know,
I
so,
do, I
Chad,
hope
if you're
Chad's
watching right
watching.
now,
I know he was
I
going to,
dislike you.
right.
And
So-
love you at the same time.
What's the movie you've seen the most?
Oh, wow.
Either by choice, or I find that if I'm channel surfing, there are some movies that I just cannot pass by. It can be in the middle of it. It can be the first 5 minutes of it. I will stop down and watch, even though I've seen it 5 bazillion times. So what movie have you seen the most?
It might be that Nina Simone documentary.
Oh.
Oh.
What happened,
It's
Miss
called
Simone?
What Happened, Miss Simone? And it was
Ah.
nominated for an Oscar, did not win, sadly, but it's one of the best
We thought it would.
biographical
We thought it would.
documentaries I have
I am making a
Ever.
note.
ever seen. Now, a blockbuster movie would probably be Logan's Run.
Oh, interesting,
It
interesting.
only costs 50 cents if you went during the day. So we save our lunch money and we go after school and we go, yeah, all that kind of
That's
stuff.
funny. And you, Mr. Harris?
There are two that will always be on the list. I think I've watched them consistently about the same time. The Color Purple
Okay,
and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
okay.
Those are my two favorite films, and I've probably watched them equally 1,000 times.
Okay,
And I would never. It's one of those that if I see it, I'm stopping to watch it. But
right,
I don't have to do that because I own those films.
right.
I'm old school, y'all. I got a DVD.
Do you know the piano lesson? I think it's by Gus
No.
Wilson.
I don't.
Okay, it's
have it.
on Broadway.
He bought me the whole
Oh,
August Weston set.
it's actually playing on Broadway, and I have
is it?
room for one more show. Yes, I'm going back to New York.
Oh, God,
Yes, I
would
know.
love
I
to-
was
I
just
would
there in
love
August.
to go to New York with you.
It would be fun.
I would
It
love
would be
to go
fun.
to
Well,
New
I'm
York
taking
with
a
you.
red eye on Monday.
I can't go Monday. Gotta
Okay,
work, y'all.
okay.
Okay.
But
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson is doing the lead in it,
Oh,
and
nice.
so I'm debating about that one. Okay, what food makes you happy? Is that a great question? Yeah. When someone says they'll make it for you, and you go, whoa, and you just have,
Macaroni and cheese. I
oh,
love a good mac and cheese.
yeah,
I really do.
yeah, and you make a good mac and cheese.
Yeah, I love when someone else makes
Mhm.
it. So I love a good mac and cheese.
Yeah,
I would have to go with, if I know someone's gonna be making something, it might be German chocolate cake
oh,
Sweet cake.
or my grandmother's pumpkin cake. One
oh,
or
I
the other would be
like
one of
that
those.
recipe. I have that
Yeah,
recipe.
yeah. It's good.
Yeah,
Killer.
yeah, it is a good one.
I find it works better in a bunch pan, just FYI.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
Yeah.
you gotta remember, you can't eat at everybody's house, y'all, because I need to know how, I need to know y'all clean. I can do it. I need to know y'all clean.
What's the best job you've had?
Can you start? Because I need a minute.
Yeah. The best job monetarily that I have had was when I was a salesman for a textbook publisher.
Oh, okay.
And but it involved a lot of travel, and it was all this corporate culture, and it was like all about the money, and so there was pressure, plenty of
Mhm.
pressure. But as far as financial
Uh-huh.
security, that would be the best. But the funnest was when I worked at Tower Records.
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, bins of LPs.
Yes, we still
Uh-huh.
had vinyl, although it
Yes.
Loves
was,
music
it
so
was
much.
phasing
yeah.
out at the time because CDs were phasing in.
Right. Right.
We still sold those singles, 45s and stuff.
Wow.
But I was the classical music guy.
There you go.
So I worked just a little.
Well, and I
harder
remember when
classical
Riverside really didn't have big resources for records.
music.
And anytime any of us were going in and out of LA to see a show like at the Amundsen, we'd always stop at Tower Records on the way home.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tower Sunset is a legend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love
Oh, that's where
I
I
went to
love
Tower,
Tower, yeah.
Oh, I met Andrew Lloyd Webber at
Oh, cool.
Tower Sunset.
You met Andrew?
I did. It's not all that exciting. He had just opened Sunset Boulevard here in Los Angeles. It opened here rather than premiering in London or New York because it was about Sunset Boulevard. And he was doing a signing at the
Okay.
tower on Sunset. And he would sign things. And so it was ostensibly for the record store to sell Sunset Boulevard CDs. And so you had to purchase that. We did not know that, but I took in the programs from the 3 Andrew Lloyd Webber shows that I had done. And we stood in the line. It was me and my brother Michael and my nephew Brendan, who had just done a production of Joseph Greencoat. And so I had my 3 programs. Brendan had his Joseph t-shirt. Michael bought Sunset Boulevard things. We each passed them around. So we each had a Sunset Boulevard something and our own things. And Brendan was the only little kid in the line. And we got up there and okay, here's my Sunset Boulevard thing. And I had my program stacked thinking he would only sign one, and he slid them apart and signed all 3 of them. So I have his signature on those. He signed what Michael had, and then Brendan handed him the t-shirt and his face just lit up. And he said, Art, did you do this show? And Brendan said, yes. And he spread this t-shirt out nice and flat. And he'd been signing in a black pen, and it was a black shirt. So he looked around and grabbed a gold felt tip and signed, and he had been just scribbling AL, blah, 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 and he spread it out and wrote Andrew Lloyd Webber across Brendan's t-shirt.
Oh,
And I have always
super cool.
just adored him for just taking that time with this little boy who had just been in the children's ensemble of Joseph Greencoat. So yes, so I'm sorry, I totally digressed there about Tower Sunset. Okay, so we were best job.
Oh, I'm going to go with, I was a program assistant at Azusa Pacific University in the multi-ethnic program office. A job that I think I should have never gotten. But my boss, who is a personal friend to this very day, appreciated the fact, because I was living in Riverside, I drove out to Azusa
Oh, wow.
to drop off my application. Because I appreciate diversity. And I thought, okay, well, let me just give this a shot. And I had to interview in front of students as well. And students are not grown folks, by the way,
No.
like that. And I remember one in particular who just kind of looked at me the entire time I was answering questions. She was like, but they all said, yeah, we want that one.
Very good.
But that, and I loved it because I didn't get a chance to hang around young college students often. And you need to.
There's something energizing about it.
Well, that, and we need to hear that perspective.
Yep.
You know, we need to hear that perspective, and those kids kept me vibrant, you know.
Yeah,
so
I'm looking
yes,
forward
ma'am.
to music directing for the high school again this
Oh
year.
gosh,
It just being
that's
around
my
high school kids.
that's my
for-
favorite job.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
got a friend out of it, a lifelong friend.
Yeah.
Two, because she married
Ah,
someone
okay.
in there that I love. So yeah, I'm not gonna ever get that again. I don't think.
Okay. Your worst
No.
job?
In when was it? 1983, I moved out of my parents' house for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And I I didn't have a job, and I was working for my dad at the time, and I was moving to Costa Mesa, and which is not that far away
Right.
from Huntington Beach, but I was working in Los Alamitos as a security guard, and he just immediately, when he learned I was not, well, I was not going to live at home anymore, he said, "Well, what are you going to do for a job?" And I was like, "Oh, it's going to be like that, is it?" I mean, I had a car. I mean, it was like, it wasn't like I couldn't drive from those days, but I thought, well, I guess I better find something else. And I got a job at Carl's Jr. in Newport Beach. And
This I knew.
this is a very strange Carl's Jr. Doesn't have a drive-through. It's in a strip mall,
Oh.
but it's 24 hours.
Oh.
And they put me on the night shift. And guess what you get to do on the night shift?
You clean out the deep fryer.
That would be better.
Oh, okay.
'Cause that goes into a vat that's under the drain.
Okay.
You disassemble and clean all of the crap that went in the charbroiler from the entire, and it was done daily on my shift. And I
Lucky
used to do
you.
that. But the best day was when we lost an hour. It was
Oh,
like I only had to work a 7-hour shift. I'm like, yes. So that's the only time daylight savings worked in my favor.
okay. And you?
I was the worst job, hands down. I would sell magazine subscriptions.
Oh, door to door, cold calling?
No, cold calling.
Oh,
And they made us work on Super Bowl Sunday.
oh no.
And so we had to make phone calls. And when I tell you I got cussed out
I'm sure.
more often doing Super Bowls, I was like, okay, I'm just, I don't even like this.
Yeah.
That was the worst job I've ever had. And I got fired from it because I wasn't producing. I'm like,
Right.
and the reason I'm not producing is because I don't like this job.
I hate it. Yeah.
I don't like doing this. Y'all don't have any idea. I didn't get called Anthony one time.
Oh,
People cussed me out that day. I'm like, the fact that you are actually asking people to renew their magazine subscriptions on Super Bowl Sunday is insane.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the worst I've ever had.
Well, I will have to add mine to this. I was a sewing machine operator in a non-union dress factory in South Carolina in 1968.
See, all that's bad. Everything
Every
you just
single
said is
element
bad.
about it is
Everything
bad.
you said is bad. Right there.
Yeah, it was non-union.
I feel like you
You'd
need
go
reparations.
upstairs and you'd be in a warehouse room with 75 sewing machines and gray lint everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
And you would sit down and the bell would ring, and then you would take a stack of little white squares, fold them in half, sew up one side. Take the squares, fold it in half, sew up one side. 8 hours a day. And
Wow.
you got a half hour for lunch. The lunchroom was a little room about this size with vending machines around it. That was the lunchroom. And on Thanksgiving, we actually got 45 minutes the day before Thanksgiving to have our Thanksgiving potluck. Yeah, it was pretty dismal. To counteract the sound of 75 sewing machines, they played something over the loudspeaker. And whether it was a radio or a record player, I don't know, but it was country western music, which to this day. And on December 1st, at one point, when I graduated to putting zippers in, I ran over my finger with a sewing machine. I went to the floor foreman, my fingers bleeding, and asked for the first aid kit. There was no first aid kit on the floor. They called down to the cutting room. Someone said, oh, I think I have one. She went rummaging through her purse. The freight elevator came up, and there in the middle of the freight elevator was a Band-Aid. That was the only first aid
Oh, wow.
in this factory.
Wow.
Where you see Claire Lewis when you need.
I know. And then December 1st, they started playing country western Christmas carols, and I went to lunch and I never went back. I couldn't do it.
The back of my head would have gone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was my worst job story. Okay, come on. I don't know. What's the best present you've ever gotten?
Ooh, you wanna go first? 'Cause it's gonna take me a minute.
I think you keep thinking, I'll cover. I think one of
Yeah.
my
I told you.
my
buckle up.
favorite was when my family surprised me with a trip to New York to see Branch. And they were going to wait and fly me out like Christmas Eve, tell me Christmas Eve to fly out Christmas Day.
Mhm.
And they told me 2 days ahead of time, so I'd have a little time to pack. But yeah, that was fun to see New York at Christmas time and the
Oh,
tree and Rockefeller
that'd
Center.
be a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah, it was
That'd be
it
a
was a
good
good
one.
gift.
That'd be
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
You don't have to, it doesn't have to be mine, but
I'm torn between two.
Okay, and
On my 16th birthday, my grandfather gave me his 1970 Camaro.
oh, that's a good
Which
one.
was pretty
Yeah,
nifty, as a junior in high school. You know,
yeah. And the
we all
other
went
one?
up in that one. When I graduated high school, my aunt took me and my very young cousin, cousin Ian,
Mhm.
was very young at the time, like 3 or 4 years old, maybe. And we took a train trip to Colorado, then up to Northern California, and then back. So it was a big triangle. We took a couple
Wonderful.
weeks doing it. We had the end car, like the whole thing where the beds come down and
Oh.
everything.
Yeah,
And, you know, I think that was kind of the pretty spectacular gift.
cool. You?
I don't know if it's best gift, but it's maybe the best Christmas that I remember. I'm very close to my cousin Angela, and we used to always get mirroring gifts.
Oh, okay.
And I remember the year very vividly that I got the $6 Million Man action figure,
Mm-hmm.
and she got the Bionic Woman.
Whoa.
And we both got, if y'all remember, we both got Merlins. If you remember Merlin,
Mhm.
we both got those. And I just thought, oh, it's so great. And then there was one year we got the Walkman. It was brand
Oh,
new.
yeah.
There's a picture with me and my cousin Angela in a really dated silver jacket.
Oh,
But
uh-huh.
if you'd have told me that I was anything less than fabulous, I'd have fought you. I look at that picture, I'm like, where are my friends?
Yeah, I remember in the late 50s, I got a portable, my own transistor radio.
Mm.
And that was huge to have a radio you could take around, and it was turquoise, I remember. I'm gonna skip the next question and go
You
to
okay?
the
'Cause
Bernard Kubo.
we gotta keep.
Yeah, we've
producer Mike
gotta-
happy.
Yeah, and we need to get through the James Lipton
Okay,
one.
let's go for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're in both. Oh, I
Yeah,
thought this was instead.
no, we're doing both.
Oh.
Your favorite word? Come on, we don't have all day.
Yes,
Yet?
yes.
Yes.
Love.
Okay. Your least favorite word?
First.
Either one
Can't.
answer. Can't. Okay.
I know what this is loud, but I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
Nigger.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
my least favorite word.
What turns you on? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Creatively, artistically,
Oh,
emotionally.
thank you for that lead.
Yeah.
Knowing that I make a difference.
Okay.
Things, it could be something either in the kitchen or at the piano. You know,
Okay.
working on a song or figuring out how this arrangement needs to go or whatever, that kind of stuff. So
Okay. Yeah, it's all a recipe, isn't it?
it is
Music and cooking. Yeah.
quite a lot, yeah.
The ingredients and their rules that you follow, and it works. What turns you off?
Ooh. Willful ignorance.
Mhm.
Bigotry in any form.
The sound or noise you love.
My favorite thing is when I'm walking into the house after a long day at work and he's at the piano playing.
Oh.
It's my
Nice.
favorite thing because
I never knew.
no, and I don't tell you because I don't want you to stop it. No matter what type of day I'm having or I've had, when I walk in and he's at the piano and he's just playing, I don't care how good or bad it is.
That's a good thing.
It just de-escalates my day.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing.
Mr. Holland,
The sound I like. Oh, it's not, what sound do I love?
the noise or sound you
Noise or
love.
something. My mother's voice.
Okay.
That's a good answer. Now I feel like
And then
saying,
sound or noise you hate.
oh, you already know the answer to this. I've said it before, and it's consistent. Cats mating.
Oh.
Oh,
It's just
Yeah.
the worst.
Uh-huh.
Why do it? If it makes you sound like that, it's clearly not good.
Jeffrey. Sound or noise you hate?
when you open your car door and it scrapes on the curb,
Oh.
that's worse than nails on chalkboard for me.
Mm.
Just a terrible sound. Horrible.
Okay, beware your favorite curse word.
Fuck.
That's mine too.
Okay.
Unless we get to put all 5 of the 4-letter curse words together. Piss, shit, hell, damn, fuck.
Oh,
And
okay.
that is
And
that.
for me,
So-
it's the FCC 7.
Oh, okay.
Fuck, shit, piss, cunt, tit, motherfucker, cocksucker.
Wow, you are on a whole new level.
Well,
Wow.
you
But my
couldn't-
second
you
favorite
couldn't-
is Poopy Skittles. This, I love Poopy Skittles.
Yeah, there was a rule in the broadcast studio when I did my radio show that you could not say shit in the room ever. Because if you ever got used to saying it in the room, it was just so common
Mhm.
that it would just slip out. So that was one of the rules that I abided by. A profession you would love to attempt.
If I had it to do all over again, it might be something in the kitchen, interestingly.
Okay.
I'd love to teach. I think I'd be a great
Oh,
teacher.
yeah, I think so too.
I think I'd be a great teacher.
I think so too. A profession you would not like to do.
Lawyer.
Interesting.
Oh.
You will also, though, be a very good lawyer.
But
It's all about
I
communication.
just
It's also about manipulation. And yeah.
and it's like, because I could have the opportunity to represent someone who I didn't believe in.
Right.
That's why it would be tough for
Yeah.
me. Like,
Okay.
what if I politically, sorry, I don't do political on my show, but what if I had to represent Trump? I would have to blow my brains out. Because every time he opens his mouth, you
Right.
have to fix something.
Right.
And that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because, and there's a lot of people out there like that, you know?
Mhm.
So not just Trump, but
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
that I would not want to be able to.
Okay.
No.
Jeffrey, what profession would you not want to do?
I think I would not want to be like a garbage collector, that kind of,
Okay.
you know,
That's the good one.
dealing with
Okay.
the muck, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know some nasty people.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I know that when pandemic wiped things out, Chad lost his job with the city
Mhm.
and at the theater. And when they were letting people come back, they reassigned him to like maintenance for the city. And that meant going to the different parks around
Oh,
in Rancho Cucamonga, emptying trash and cleaning up, needles and condoms and stuff in the trash and stuff around the parks. Yeah, not a good job.
yeah.
Okay. And then the final question on James
done
Lipton's
already?
list.
Oh, this has been so much fun. I hate this is the last question.
Well, we'll have to do this again. Okay.
Correct.
If heaven exists, oh, Chad just responded. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? Now, I could reverse it. If hell exists, no,
I'm
answer
going
that.
with the first one.
Yeah, if heaven exists, what do you want to hear God say?
I do believe heaven exists, and I would love to hear God say, I know you have questions. Come sit with me and I'll answer them.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I would love.
I would simply like God to say, welcome.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
goodness.
Thank you
Thank
for,
you.
This
Oh,
doesn't
well,
even
you're
seem
so-
like.
I know,
Yeah,
time just
yeah.
flew.
It did. It
Yeah.
did. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is like, what's the comment that comes by?
Haley's comment?
This is not happening again for another 100 years. Okay. I got him. It took me a minute to get him to do this.
Yes.
So this is not gonna happen again anytime soon. Diane.
Well, it's a delight to be able to chat with the two of you together. Because Jeffrey, you don't do Facebook, we see more of Tony's personality come through.
Uh-huh.
We know that he does jigsaw puzzles. We know that he dresses flamboyantly and looks incredibly sharp doing it. So there is a persona that
Mhm.
we see of Tony in the social media.
Yeah.
And it's so delightful because I know you,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
yeah, it's nice for our viewers to be able to,
And it was
to see who you are.
no other person that I wanted to do this
well, thank you.
than you.
Thank
I
you.
mean, you married us.
I
you
know, I
and-
know.
In our home.
And you have
8.5
honored
years
that.
ago.
Yes, and you have honored that by staying together. I've married 4 couples and I am pleased to say that all 4 of them are
Oh,
I'm
really?
still
Oh,
together.
Well,
Yeah.
and then you were
Yeah.
helpful
yeah.
ridiculously when we were going through the loss of our house. You were always there. You've always been a consistent friend.
Thank you.
And I want to get that on the record, that you have been there. You didn't just give lip service.
Mhm.
You showed up when we really needed it.
When we had a garage to clean out.
It's true.
Yeah, and you were
It's
there.
true.
Not
You
much.
were there. And I would like to also say to all of you who are watching that I think Mark is very pleased. that
I
the
think he
three of
is
us
too.
doing
I-
this
yeah,
right.
Yeah, I
I
think so
think he's
too.
very pleased. And that you're here too, producer Mike.
Yeah.
I actually paid him today.
Wow.
I
Wow.
did. Okay,
Well,
so
and he earned it with all the technical business.
thank you.
So thank you for joining us today. And Tony will be back with Tea Time for Tony in another month.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Have a great day.